Well, today's show is not without controversy. I just want to throw this out there to start with. There's a lot of controversy. Apparently, Russ the Chicken is holding out for more money, and I was dealing with him earlier today. I don't know if our people and his people are going to get it together in time for this show. I have a substitute in place that could possibly help out, but we can't be raked over the coals, guys, by Russ the Chicken. We just can't. We don't have a lot of money.
Puppet? Really, a scab?
He's already making twice as much as each of you combined.
Scab puppet.
So since he's already making all that money, I just feel like it's really wrong. At some point, during this, so I was sent something that it's kind of cool. Check this out. So have you guys seen this?
Oh yeah, the goal lights.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah. So this is It's not at all loud.
Can I? Let's just say I had no skin in the game yesterday. I was a neutral. I didn't care whether Tampa won or Pittsburgh won. But for my sanity, I was sort of rooting for Tampa for one reason. To not have to hear that jackass with the horn at the Console Energy Center constantly at the beginning of every period, at the beginning of every...
Yeah, the horn should be reserved for just...
You mean there's a guy with a horn? Yeah?
Yeah. The horn should be only for goals, and that's my opinion. So but this thing is kind of neat, I have to say. And Budweiser sent it to me, so I'm going to say good things about it. Because it is, and what I'm going to do with this is pretty funny. I'm going to leave it here. Are
you going to tell people how it works?
Yeah, how it works is this, okay? So it hooks up via Wi-Fi, okay? And essentially what happens is when your team you pick your team that you like, and if your team scores, it just goes off wherever it is in your house.
So you should set that for the Pittsburgh Penguins for when you leave.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set it for both teams, and because you can set it for a couple teams.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to leave it in our bedroom and see what happens. See if see how much my wife hates me.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
It's not the first red light we've had in our bedroom.
Oh.
No, but this is definitely no. But I think this is crazy. This is really weird, and but it's kind of neat at the same time. It's the Internet of Things connected. I don't drink beer. Let me throw that out there to start with. But this is a Budweiser promotion, and I think it's kind of cool. So we're gonna see how much it freaks out my family. By the way, I'm not gonna tell them.
Budweiser makes booster juice, like you don't even know.
Yeah. I'm not gonna tell them it exists. I'm just gonna put it, in our on a table in our room somewhere.
Yeah.
And it does, because it doesn't even look like it's on. It just sits there.
I would just put it in the closet and cover it with clothing.
No, then my family could go running for the hills. I think that I want to make sure that they don't think that we're under attack, from the Germans.
It'll be like 2 minutes into the first period, and you'll be getting texted.
Oh, I can't wait for the first goal to be scored.
What the hell is this horn? Yeah.
I am so excited. It's going to just be awesome. So anyway.
And you disarm it remotely?
I don't know. No, there's a switch on the bottom. You can turn it off. Which I'm sure will happen after the first goal is scored. But
I'm sure more than that.
No, this will be the disaster scenario act. Game 1 will be 0-0 into the third overtime.
Yeah,
it'll go off at 1:30 a.m.
You guys can think of me. If the first goal goes too late in that game, remember I have 2 small children. If the first, not small anymore, but smallish children, and if the first goal goes off, after 10, we're in trouble. So. That's how this is going to go down. But I think it's going to be fun, and I honestly think it's a cool idea. It's great for like a man cave. It's an awesome thing for a man cave. Really. You would only pick your
single
team.
Guys, it's great.
Yeah. No, it's the. You know what else it's cool for? Actually, you can with this app, and you can just make it go off. And I kind of like that too, because for my rink outside, I want to actually hook this up, behind one of the goals, and just have it when someone scores, hit the button, and
Yeah.
It's your own little it's actually a goal light, and I tried outside to set up a goal light for my ice rink, and it's really that you can turn on and off very easily. It's not that easy to do, and something that's the thing about this is this. I will give them this. This is metal. This is real. This is legitimate. This is an actually pretty cool I mean, this is a real thing. It's not.
So when you get hit over the head with it, it'll hurt.
You would have to spend some time in the quiet room if you got hit over the head with this.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of nice that way. And I don't know, I've always kind of wanted a real goal light. So, and I'll tell you what, no, it's not cheap. It's not. It's like $150, I think.
Well, that's not terrible.
Which is not terrible, but it is well made. Like I said, this is actually not plastic. It looks, and it's got the nice Budweiser logo on it. So if you're a Budweiser drinker,
hey, considering that that's hockey related, like I'm already looking at things in the Mad Men auction to bid on. So this has got to be cheaper than that.
Right. And I think it's going to be good. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. We'll seeing what happens and see how much it's going to scare the living crap out of my family. That's what I really want.
Yeah.
More than anything else. So
will love it.
It's going to live here for the show today, but it's going to be it's going to be up in our room after this. So there you have it, right next to Cubert. All right, so let's start the show, shall we? Hopefully they worked this rest of the chicken thing out ahead of time, because I'm unhappy. I'm very unhappy. His he's really got us in a coup now. This is kind of a coup.
A chicken coup.
He's cooped us up, yeah. He's really
he's asking for more. He's asking for more chicken scratch.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just ridiculous that I can't think of a single chicken pun right now. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That is there's no question that he's gotten too big for his feathers. So we're gonna see what happens. Like I said, I have a replacement. His name is Rodney. He's also a chicken, and he's ready to go. So I wanted to throw that out there. The rest of the chickens, friends, that Rodney the chicken is there. He's ready to go.
You're like a bad GM now, trying to threaten a star player who wants an extra year in his contract. Like that's what you're doing here.
Yeah. I think that I think we could see a fight by the end of the show between Rodney and us. So never know. It's something to think about toward the end of the show.
It's Beck Eiserman.
There you go. All right, let's hit the bell. Let's get going.
Barely heard
it. Did you hear it?
I heard it.
Yeah, we heard it. Don't do it again.
Hello, Hockey World. It's Friday. Nope. Yep. Yeah, it is. Oh, crap. Hello, Hockey World. It's Friday, May 27th, 2016.
I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
And I am Eklund, and we will give anybody $10 who can figure out how to fix Mike's lower third. That's all you need to do. It'll be PayPal to you immediately. Email to eklund@hockeyBuzz.com. I have tried. I even talked to somebody at Google who said that happens all the time, and they don't know why. So there's no real.
Mine's fine.
Yeah, it tends to be. I think the more positive things you search, the more positive you are in life, the more likely it is that your lower third's going to stay. Because as we've seen, Kevin and Mike can't keep their lower third going. So they're obviously searching for negative, angry things, and Jillian, that's surprising, but yet she's a positive person, but yet she can't get it going either. Yet Russ has never lost his lower third, never ever. He's still a lower third virgin.
My computer has the Zika virus.
There you have it. All right, so here we go. After 30 years in the NHL, Jacques Martin will finally make his first appearance in the Stanley Cup Finals.
That's insignificant. It's insignificant. Like the average fan doesn't know.
I know. It's one of the headlines I saw today. There's so many things going on. I agree with you. I like Jacques Martin.
He's a great guy, but fans don't care about assistants. They don't.
I do. The only reason I bring it up is there was my funny story with him is when he was the GM in Florida, and Jay Bouwmeester was big time rumored to be traded, right? And it was going on, and I think I wrote about Jay Bouwmeester for 7 straight seasons, right? So it was completely all the time, and Pierre, at that time, Pierre Gauthier, who was going to, not yet the GM of Montreal, but was might have been the assistant GM of Montreal at the time still, or something like that. Worked for Montreal or worked for some team. He was in the press box on one side of me, and Jacques Martin was sitting on my other side of me. And Gauthier was a great guy, and I talked to him a lot. He was really fun, really nice guy. Loved his kids, really really sweet man. And Martin had never met me in person, but had talked to me on the phone. So he was next to me, and he heard me starting to talk, and I have that distinctively awful voice that I have, and he heard my voice, and he said, "Oh, wait a second, you're not Eklund, are you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't want to bother you. What am I going to do? Sit here all day, going to trade Bouwmeester, you're 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 going to..." So he's like, Like, oh, I'm really impressed that you haven't said anything about it. So then Goche to my right says, hey, you're going to trade Jay Bouwmeester? Which was great. And he just laughed, and they didn't trade Jay Bouwmeester, actually. They did not. They went through the trade deadline that year and did not trade him. So, but yeah, that was he is a really nice guy, and very, French and very, pristine, and a big time won a lot of Stanley Cups as a player, I believe, didn't he? He won a ton of wasn't he part of that Montreal Canadiens team that won a ton of Stanley Cups? I thought. No.
No.
He didn't play for the Canadiens?
No.
I thought he did play for the Canadiens.
Nope.
Are we sure of that?
I'll double check.
All right. I thought for sure he was part of that. He was one of those Canadian winning teams.
You're thinking of Jacques Laperriere, probably.
No. I know who Jacques Laperriere is, but I'm thinking of Jacques Martin. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just all these years thought he was. I know there's all these guys who have played for. There's a lot of GMs who have played for the Canadiens. It feels like. But anyway. Okay, other things. 3 goalies in history have won Game 7 conference finals who are rookies. Can you name them? Can you name the other 2?
Yeah, because we know Matt Murray.
Besides Matt.
You say Game 7 finals and what?
Game 7 conference finals.
Right.
3 goalies, rookie goalies.
So Cam Ward.
Cam Ward, 06, very good. The other was exactly 30 years prior.
76.
That would be 20 years. 30 years. No, 20 years prior. Sorry, I'm 20 years prior. Apologize. Yeah, bad math on me.
Patrick Waugh.
No, that's what I thought too when someone said that to me. But no. He did not play Game 7, I guess. My guess is. So,
yeah, I guess that's the problem.
So you have to go to the other conference final that year. It's getting pretty easy.
Was it Mike Vernon?
There you go.
Okay.
Mike Vernon.
Yeah, Jacques Martin never played in the NHL.
Oh, man. Okay, there you go. That's interesting. A couple other really funny facts from last night before we actually get into the game. I thought there was some really good stuff on Reddit Hockey Today, and this is the other one I want to throw out there too. Phil Kessel says he's never been happier.
Yeah.
He said I don't even know what he says. I don't even know what to say. Phil Kessel.
Except when he's buying street meat in Toronto last week. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
No, Phil Kessel. I mean, we got to. I'm not slamming Phil Kessel. It's just.
No, he had a great series and stuff.
He had a great series. And it's just. I think he's doing this a little bit tongue in cheek. Like. And because I love the way he plays with the Canadian media. That's so. This is not a slam on him at all.
This is why there's. Okay. Go ahead, Russ.
I was going to say, honestly, we don't know how he was like at his 13th birthday party. I mean, he could have been happier, but we don't know. So we have to take his word.
I'm sure he was happy when he signed the contract for that 8-year, $64 million contract, which he should have never been signed to because he's not worth it. I mean, but that's the thing. Phil Kessel is a great hockey player, but Phil Kessel is a complementary player. He is not somebody you build a team around, and he's perfectly fit in the Penguins right now because you've got star players like Crosby and Malkin who are the leaders on that team, and he doesn't have to lead. He doesn't have to do anything other than what he does best, which is score. And that's all fine and good. But, I think that some people in Toronto probably have more of a problem with the organization that signed him to the contract and that traded for him than the one that traded him away. I don't think the Leafs organization is crying at all about Phil Kessel, that deal, and the fact that he's made the Stanley Cup final. I'm sure they're probably happy for him, but no one's saying anything about that. I think it was a good trade for both teams. I think that's what we saw. I think we've seen a good trade for both teams, and I think that, but time will tell on the other side of it. Of course, it depends what happens with the players that they pick, but for now, I mean. I think that without Phil Kessel, the Penguins aren't there. I mean, I really do think that's the end of the day. I mean, when you look at Crosby and Malkin and everybody like that, Phil Kessel may be their most valuable player. And people say Letang's their most valuable player. I don't buy that, but I like Letang, and I know he pulls in a lot of time. But at the same point, I'm not really a big fan of Letang. And one last thing before we get
Letang. The problem is his penalties have outweighed his scoring.
And we will talk about that when we preview this next series because that is a huge thing. The next series I think is all hinging on part of that. That's a teaser. There you go. So One thing I did want to mention because we missed it yesterday, and I feel really bad about this because one of the classiest guys in hockey is Chris Phillips. Okay, he is absolutely as you don't get much better than Chris. Like Chris Phillips, people forget like this is a guy who stayed, didn't go pro for a year because he was taking care of his mom. This is a guy who really absolutely is 100% class. Has always been with one team in Ottawa.
Although largely forgotten that he was the #1 pick in his year.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And yeah, so a #1 pick to take time off to take, that's something. I mean, you're talking about very and he's been captain. I mean, and he was captain for many years where he didn't wear the C on that team too. He was the guy who people went to. He was the guy the media went to for sure, and definitely one of the players. Always had time to talk to people. Always was honest about everything. And during a period of time when Ottawa was very, very secretive and very paranoid, he never fell into that world. He was always one of the most real people to talk to, and he hasn't passed away, but I'm just not like I'm talking he's passed away, but he's retiring from hockey, and I think it's worth mentioning, because I know he announcing his retirement touring right before the 7th game of a playoff series is very Chris Phillips like too, because it really is not. He could have done this, any time, and he did it at a time when the media wasn't going to pay much attention to him. So I'm going to pay a little bit of attention to him right now, and say that
He'll probably end up as a coach or an advisor or somebody.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think he will definitely be in hockey, and he's one of those guys. I mean, you've dealt with him, Russ, obviously.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I always found of all the people on that team, and there have been a lot of like superstars that have come and go. You had Chara, you had Redden. Then Chara and Redden overshadowed him for many years there. But he was always the guy who was never too into himself. He signed reasonable contracts. He signed contracts because he wanted to stay in Ottawa.
Yep.
He was part of a team.
He always played.
He always played. He was never hurt, hardly ever hurt. And he was there. Like I remember one time when Spezza was getting ripped apart, and he stepped up in the locker room and told a bunch of reporters to stop it. That they had to just get over themselves. That Jason Spezza was a great player, and it was easy to pick on him because this is when wasn't there. Spezza's a good guy, and just stop picking on just because he's a good guy, you can feel like you can pick on him. Well, I saw him stand up a couple times for people.
Well, it's not much of a factor, but the thing is that since Ottawa's not a cap team, but he signed a 2-year extension. And he played, I think, a little over 30 games, not last season, but the previous season, and didn't play at all this past season. So right. It's a 35-plus contract, so his $2.5 million cap hit is going to stay on the cap in spite of the fact that he's retired. And to your point, he's been a career-long Senator, very steady defenseman, never spectacular, but always steady. And it's a fine career, and I'm sure that he will be missed in Ottawa. But I think that organization is sort of in a transition, and they're probably moving on from a lot of the veteran group. They moved on from Alfredson, now they move on from Phillips, and now I think they're going to try to build around the younger group with guys like Hoffman and Zibanejad if they don't trade him, and a few other younger players. Yep,
for sure. So I just want to make touch base on that. Another interesting fact that I had before we get out of here, and a lot of people are saying this about the other series. I got a lot of emails about this, and we really appreciate I appreciate your emails about the show. Even if you have a problem with how much the Maple Leafs are mentioned, feel free to keep emailing. And I get a lot of those, but you guys, and this is one thing I'm going to throw out there, defending the fact that we talk about the Maple Leafs a lot. It's not just Mike; it's all of us that talk about the Maple Leafs. Okay, so, and the fact is, they are a story. They're a really interesting team right now. They are in the middle of a great rebuild. They are going to draft Austin Matthews. They very well might sign a big free agent. There's a lot to talk about, so I'll just leave it there, Mike. You don't have to say anything to get yourself in trouble. This is all coming from me.
Center of the universe.
You're not the center of the universe. You're just making it really hard on me, aren't you? You just want me to get more emails is what you want me to do. All right. I really appreciate it. Oh, man. And Babcock is getting an honorary Doctor of Law degree from the University of Saskatchewan. So there's my leave news for the day. I guess that means he can.
I'm just going to leave that alone.
Can he practice law now in Saskatchewan? Is that what's possible? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are in Canada, but
I'll tell you what. Nobody's suing any dentists in Saskatchewan. I know that.
Oh man. All right. So I'm kind of torn as to which way to go today, because we can talk about. We have the World Cup of Hockey going on here. We have the rosters being announced. that's interesting. But let's first talk about the game last night, and then we'll move on from there. It was a good one. We had a good Game 7. We have had like a lot of kind of bad Game 7s. This was a really good one, and the fact is, to me, what struck me as so telling was, well, first of all, I mean, my gosh, Duran's goal. I mean, Duran has absolutely had an unbelievable turnaround of a season. I mean, talk about a guy who went from like the absolute pits of awfulness where people were just ripping him to shreds, right? To probably being the best player. Not you. I know. Credit goes to Russ, who continually said this kid's a stud. To the fact now that he is maybe the best player on that team, and it's fascinating to watch. And the goal he scored was such a crazy goal scorer's goal. I mean, he does make mistakes defensively, but you know what? I mean,
you might as well have seen flames come out of his stick when he took the shot.
Oh my gosh! And the speed that he came through the neutral zone with on that was just the Rick McLeish cut across. That was shooting across the green. That was big time star player there, and a big moment, And it felt like to me the fun thing about this game was the Penguins just, I mean, 3 times they outshot the Tampa Bay Lightning by more than 20 in the series in 3 of the games. That's an enormous shot differential difference, and last night was no different, right? So. And there were points in the second period where you were just waiting for the Penguins to go up 3-1, but they couldn't go up 3-1, and it felt like that. In the beginning of the third period, Tampa knew this, came out and came close. They came very close to tying that game. Anything could have happened. So it was a fun game to watch. Matt Murray continued to just make some really good saves, and more than anything else, just not get flustered at any point. I think all the people are drawing these comparisons to Carey Price with Matt Murray. I think it's not really a fair thing to do.
It's not applicable. It's totally different. I'll tell you, and I was going to really strangle Mike Milbury last night. I mean, he was like, well, don't be shocked if we don't see, on Marc-Andre Fleury in this next series.
Oh, my gosh, I heard you say that.
And then even Keith Jones was mimicking that, and I'm like, guys, wait a minute. So you're now telling me if Matt Murray loses Game 1 of the Stanley Cup, you're putting in Marc-Andre Fleury, who admitted himself he's not himself.
Right. No, that's insane. Nothing against the fine folks on NBC, but I've been watching this on Canadian TV and then Hockey Night in Canada. It's just fun. Listen, it's funny to be on a thread with you guys, and I like that I watch it on Hockey Night in Canada since many of our viewers watch it on Hockey Night in Canada. But so it's funny to hear like this stuff. I think it's worth mentioning the stuff that's said for the Canadian follower. I mean, that's incredible that Milbury would say that.
They were giving props to Murray, but then they're like, well, hey, they're sort of acting like, well, your job's still tenuous,
Yeah.
You should not see Marc-Andre Fleury at all in the Stanley Cup unless there's an injury. Period.
Yeah.
Or if Pittsburgh loses a couple games and they think that they need a change. I mean, I don't put it past the Penguins to go to Fleury once again if Murray drops the ball, but he hasn't shown any evidence so far since taking over from Jeff Zadkoff in the first round that he's going to drop the ball. He's a fine young goaltender. He stood up to the pressure of a Game 7, didn't have to face a ton of shots. Now, and Russ, I'm sure you're probably going to criticize me, even though Vasilevsky faced a ton of shots and only allowed 2 goals. I think that goal that he allowed, the eventual game winner by Rust, I mean, I thought Vasilevsky had an opportunity to prove a lot of things to Tampa, that I can take over the job, I'm good enough to be the number 1. And honestly, I don't think that Steve Yzerman, after that series, should have a ton of confidence in Vasilevsky. I think he's a good young goaltender, and I think he will be a good NHL goaltender. But I think that they go back to Bishop next year. I don't think they trade him. I think that they're.
I don't know. I mean, look, if they go back to Bishop, it's probably more contractual than anything else. I think they learned a lot of good things about Vasilevsky. I didn't see anything wrong. Like last game, yeah, did he let in a bad goal? Sure. You know what? I didn't see anything really wrong. I get that maybe even 1 goal in last night's game wasn't great, but you know what? It was more about defensive breakdowns and guys being in the crease than it was against the goalie. I agree. Completely disagree with you. Sorry.
I'm with you. I'm with Russ on this one.
He's clearly the more athletic of the two goaltenders, but I think he has some growing up to do. And
There's
I think
no question he's got growing up to do. I
well,
mean,
that's why I'm saying everybody is in a rush to say, okay, they can trade Ben Bishop next year. I'm like, don't rush into that because you got a guy here who's 21 years old, who I think showed some inexperience, showed that he needs to hone his game a little bit, and I don't think that he's ready if Tampa Bay wants to stay in contention next year, which I think they can because they're a very deep roster, and if they decide to move on from Stamkos and stay in contention, I think they can if they keep Bishop. If they trade Bishop to open up room to keep Stamkos and they go with Vasilevsky, I think they're opening themselves up to some problems because I don't think they're ready to handle the number one job just yet.
I don't know. I really disagree.
I don't know about that.
I think what he's doing is remarkable for his age, in my opinion, and sure, he's been better than a lot of goalies who are way more experienced than him that he's played against, and he's been better than you're sure are you going to sit there and say he's going to be the best goalie in the NHL? No, but can you sit there and say he's going to be as good as Bishop? You can.
He still has defensive problems,
Right, you can argue that he's going to be as good as Bishop.
I'll make a statement and I'll stick by this. If Ben Bishop hadn't been hurt in Game 1, Tampa would have won that series.
No way! You're crazy.
That is crazy. There's no way of saying that. And there's also, like I said before, when I talking to people in Pittsburgh, they wanted to play Bishop in the worst possible way because whenever they played Tampa, they had so much more success.
We'll never know. All I can say.
We'll never know. But I mean, it doesn't.
I found an old tweet, Mike, where you were happy that the Leafs acquired Andrew Raycroft. You were happy about that trade.
I wasn't even on
Twitter at that point.
I don't think Twitter was in existence at that point, Ross.
This is the thing about Vasilevsky. You got one of my buddies who we've met before, Tom Laidlaw, ex-Ranger. 2 years ago, if you remember when we did the original 6 teams, he drafted Vasilevsky onto his team.
Oh, yeah.
He also drafted Ilya Kovalchuk.
Right. And part of the reason he did both of those was because, remember when he talked to us on the air, he was on here, he said that he did color commentating for the KHL and was just thought Vasilevsky was as good as any goalie he had seen in years. And the KHL is not a slouch league. I mean, and that was when he was even younger. I mean, the fact is he thinks of Vasilevsky is, and I definitely, here's a guy who was a player agent, was actually Brian Boucher's player agent. Another one who was also really risen pretty dramatically. I think I'm surprised how fast Brian Boucher has gotten in there with all the stuff he's doing, which is great for him. But I think that it's impossible to say that. I mean, I don't know how much this all ties into Stamkos anyway, but I think that the way it plays into, if you're sitting there with the two goalies, I have a really hard time turning away from Vasilevsky. Now we do know the rumor, and it was true for sure, right? And this was confirmed by a lot of people that at the draft they almost traded Vasilevsky for Ekman. Remember Ekblad. They almost traded Vasilevsky and Drouin in their first pick. That was on the table at that draft. Florida is, I'm sure, still glad they didn't do that because Ekblad is such a stud. But that would have been, who knows? I mean, that could have been a good trade for both teams. But you can see why Tampa did it. Tampa was desperate for that kind of defenseman.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about Stamkos now because again, like 4 times, I had to hear Mike Milbury say, "Why didn't he play 4 minutes? He only played 2 minutes and 58 seconds in the second period. I like what I saw at the end, but why didn't they play him more?" And I'm thinking, Mike, do you understand that this guy's actually risking his life being on blood thinners, playing in the first place? Shape.
He's playing, remember, and he has no contract for next year on top of it all. And you're talking hundreds of $100 million perhaps that he's leaving.
You know what? For all those facts, I give Steven Stamkos all the credit in the world. He really didn't have to go in there. He wanted to go in for his team. He wanted to win that game. He actually, in limited ice time, played pretty well. He had
a couple chances to score.
Yeah, a couple really good chances.
Let's talk about who did he knock out of the lineup? I don't even know. Who did he knock out of the lineup? No, he knocked the 7th defenseman out, right? Because they went.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah. Didn't they knock out? Didn't they go to 6 defensemen with Stamkos or something like that? I thought.
No, they went 12. They went 12-6, but it was Marchessault, the forward.
Was the guy though, because JT Brown did play. Yeah.
I mean, is he more? Is Stamkos in a limited role more likely to get a goal for you at the key time than that guy?
Yeah, I mean, he proved it. He almost scored on Murray on that 4-on-4. He actually beat Murray. But if Murray's jersey was, if it was 2 years from now when they have the tapered down jerseys, that would have been a goal.
Yeah. So, the other thing is, at the end of the game, when he pointed that whoever that was, Dumoulin, touched the puck on the.
Oh my gosh, that was incredible.
Yeah,
Stamkos noticed that. Nobody else on that team noticed it. He noticed it.
That could have been the difference. I mean, what if they score there? I mean, I thought about that too. Like that alone was the reason that he should have been in the game. I mean, just to make that play right there, if they can actually tie the game somehow, that was an unbelievable play.
Anybody who criticizes Steven Stamkos or criticizes John Cooper for not using him more really has no clue of what's going on. Because I mean, I think the insertion of him into the lineup was motivational mostly, but he still has the talent to be able to affect the game, and he almost did last night. So I think I give him a lot of credit. Now, go ahead, Russ.
You don't think that Cooper wanted to play him more? I mean, that's just crazy. Of course he wanted to play him more, but
I saw him making some big hits, and he got hit a couple times. Yep. And again, he got better as the game went on. He got his legs under him.
Yeah.
He definitely, by the third period, he was rolling, but he did have that chance early in the game. Like, I mean, again, him just being on the ice. I don't care what Mike Sullivan said in the pregame, in the middle of the game interview, where he said, "Oh no, we don't have to adjust for Steve Stamkos." Okay, Mike. Thanks for that great commentary, because nobody believes you. Obviously, they did, and
you don't
so
think people are aware of him? You know what I mean? It's like even if you're not adjusting with him, you're aware of him. Like when you're a defender on the ice and Stamkos skates by you to go pick up his position for the pass, you know that Stamkos is over there. You know that just that in and of itself creates a problem. That's just craziness. I don't understand that.
And I'm not going to waste a lot of time talking about it today, because we'll be talking about this the next 4 weeks until it's decided whether he signs elsewhere or re-signs in Tampa. But I read a piece this morning on ESPN.com that said that the fact that Steven Stamkos played in the game last night was more proof that he's staying in Tampa. Would people stop making assertions and assumptions that if he's playing or not playing, it has anything to do with whether he's going to sign there or not? It doesn't. It really doesn't. He's under contract. He's been with that team since he was 18 years old. He wanted to win a Stanley Cup. He would have moved heaven and earth to get back in the lineup earlier, but he couldn't, and he got in the lineup. So let's just wait and see what's going on with Stamkos and stop assuming things.
I don't think. I agree with you there, and I'll just say this: I don't think that there's any more or less of a chance, and I don't even know that Stamkos really knows what's going on yet. I really feel that's true.
Locker breakdown day is going to be a bad day for Steve Stamkos, because there's going to be 100 cameras there.
Yeah, well, but he knows how to handle it. There's a really easy way to handle it. I haven't decided what I'm doing yet, so that's all I can say. And that's it.
And it's not all up to him too, Ak. I mean, it could be up to the organization as well. If they see that they need to sign other players.
Well, that's the debatable point. Yes, I agree.
Well, I know, but I think that's a factor as well. I mean, if they're going to stick to, we're going to offer you $8.5 million and you better take it, then he's going to go looking for better offers probably. There is some breaking news here. I'm not sure.
Wait, is it the same breaking news when you told us yesterday Stamkos wasn't playing?
That wasn't. I mean, I wasn't the source of that. That was Bob McKenzie reporting Steve Yzerman saying that.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. McKenzie really screwed with me, because I had a feeling Stamkos was going to play, and he did. But then when we got that thing yesterday, even I got fooled momentarily.
Okay. According to our buddy Frank Cervelli from TSN, Dustin Brown has been told by the LA Kings that he will no longer be the captain, and that they want to go in a different direction. If that fact, and the fact that he has got a long-term deal at I think $5.8 million, leads me to believe that if they can find somebody to take that contract on, that they'll trade him.
Oh, they've tried before, yeah. I mean, I don't think that. Yeah, I agree with that. This is kind of sucky, because it's like I hate this stuff. I really just, to me, I mean, Dustin Brown has been a freaking good captain for that team.
He has been a great captain.
He has been, and you can say he's not worth that money, but he's still worth something, and he is still definitely, he's one of those guys that
he had pretty good playoffs actually. He had a resurgence, I felt.
Yeah, and he's just such a clutch player, and has been his whole career, and going back to his college days, right? I mean, I thought he was he grew up in Ithaca. I was trying to remember where he went to college, but I know he's always been just a great, he was great for Team USA too, and in his time there, it's just, I don't understand teams' obsessions with captaincy like to this level. Like, do the Kings really feel that this is going to change anything?
Yeah,
Like, does this? I mean, did taking the captaincy away from Marlowe and Thornton change anything? I really Marlowe and Marlowe is still going to be the captain. Thornton's still the captain of that team. I don't care what anybody says. Pavelski, it's so funny. They always ask Joe Thornton, "What do you think of your captain?" You know that? I hate when it makes me crazy that the media people say, "So what do you think of your captain out there? How did he do?" And it's just like, it's okay, guys. We don't have to throw this in Joe Thornton's face anymore. Joe Thornton doesn't care that he's not captain.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything. He's still the captain. He's still the leader in that room.
I don't
him.
think that's correct. I think he's part of the leadership group, but that team failed with him as
but that's not. But see, that team doesn't look at it like that. I know. I mean, that team has issues with Patrick Marlowe, but that team does not have issues with Joe Thornton.
So here's the thing. So they're going to hand it to Anze Kopitar, right? And Kopitar's been leading anyhow.
Yeah,
like, he isn't going to change anything.
You think Anze Kopitar wants to take it from Dustin Brown? See, that's the other thing. I don't think he wants anything to do with it. You know what I mean? To be honest, I've heard that as well. Like Pavelski really wasn't thrilled about this.
Then it's Doughty. If it's not Kopitar, it's Doughty. I mean, it'll be one or the other.
Yeah, and Doughty might.
Maybe it'll be Jeff Carter.
Doughty might want to take the captaincy, but it's not going to be Jeff Carter. No, that would not be the right idea, unless you're a 17-year-old at a Wawa in Glenside. It's not a good idea. But let's But no, to me, Doughty Doughty would be more likely to take the captaincy.
Mm-hmm.
Than Kopitar. I could see saying no, I don't really want it. But Doughty, I could see.
That's not why they lost this year.
No, and you know what? If you can't, you're like taking the captaincy away from him because of his contract. Essentially, that's really what's going on, and that's not fair at all. But think about that. It's not. It's really because of his contract, because you can't trade him. So you're going to take his captaincy away instead, or you're going to make that are you trying to get him to hate you so he'll waive a no trade clause?
That's exactly what I think.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I mean, what are we in, 4th grade?
Yeah, I mean it's a little ridiculous. This would be like Jarrell walking up to Superman and ripping off the S and saying, "You're no longer Superman. You're like above average man. You're above average man.
You're a disgrace to the family. You mated with a human." Yes, thank you.
Right. We're going over here. Batman's taking over now. He's the guy. Your day's been done. Waive your no trade clause so we can send you back to where
Catwoman is hotter than Lois Lane, so there you go.
Actually, that's a fair thing. That's a fair thing. The DC Universe has never had a trade with the Marvel Universe, as far as I know.
No, that's not true. Actually, unfortunately, I do know this. That is not true. There are, because my son is like encyclopedic about this. I will be back next week and tell you, because I know we've talked about it in the many hours. My son has explained to me what's going on in the DC and Marvel universe. I remember for fact him telling me about some that went from one to another. That some were bought,
Okay.
I want to say maybe Spider-Man. Someone's going to kill me for this. Spider-Man briefly.
Spider-Man was never in DC. I know.
Okay, maybe it's not. There is somebody. It's somebody significant though. It's somebody. It's not. Somebody of that level who started off in one and went to the other. Yeah. They don't intermix right now. That would just be wrong. So they live in different universes. All right.
Do they? I don't know. They can't because I don't know.
They totally do.
I don't think they do. I think that's wrong.
DC is actually in the real world, right? No, Marvel's in the real world.
Where's Metropolis? Can I have the zip code for Metropolis?
Metropolis is Superman, right? So that's Metropolis and Gotham. So that's
Gotham
DC.
City.
They are the fake. They live in a fit where where the Avengers they do stuff in New York City. Like the Avengers are part of this, so that's
But
they're totally.
Flash is in today's world.
They're totally in opposite places. Although quite often they call New York City Gotham, of course, but
All right, whatever. Let's go back to
Let's move on. If my son was here, we'd be able to fix this right away, but he's not. He's at school. So let's move on, as we should.
We should be.
Let's move on to the World Cup of Hockey, shall we? Da-da-da. So,
here's my first thing I want to say.
Right now, 4 rosters have been announced, and we'll get into them. But go ahead.
The fact that you have to now divert your eyes to look in a bunch of different places to see who's on the roster is a problem because they just keep in, and it's like, why can't it be on all one sheet? Why can't it be a one-sheeter?
Oh, I know. Well, I tried. No, if you go to my blog, that's what I'm doing. I'm putting them all in one place. So If you go to my blog, so far I have put all 4 of them up there. You can just go to one. So that's if you want what Russ is saying. And that's what I was doing. I was opening my blog to see exactly where they are because I combined them.
But apparently they are saving Team USA, Team Canada, and Team North America for a show at 6 p.m. on Sportsnet in Canada.
Yep, that's what I heard too. Now, Team Europe has not been announced.
Wait. Let's analyze that for a minute. So, Canada is going to find out about Team USA before people in the U.S.
Yes.
Well, maybe.
Well, I would venture maybe. Yeah.
Well, I can't watch it.
I'm sure that show will probably also be carried on NHL Network because.
Well, maybe ESPN. Because ESPN's the one who owns the hockey.
Yeah.
So Barry Melrose will be in his finest attire.
I hope it'll be in the U.S., but now let's see.
Yeah. So let's talk about the 4 teams we know. Okay, so and of course I'm going to do what I have to do, which is put these guys into Electronic Arts and simulate them. So that'll be something that has to happen soon.
Well, I have the for the 7 additional for Sweden. If you want to start out there.
I've got this. Yeah, I've got. Let's go through Sweden. The goalies: Rob, Lehner, Lundqvist, and Markstrom. Any surprises there? Not really. That's right.
Nope, that's where it should be.
Yep.
Defense: Ekholm, Ekman, Larson. A lot of X. Hedman, Jarmelson, Carlson. That'd be Eric Carlson, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Cromwell and Strawman.
Again, very solid.
Very solid, yeah. 2 Tampa Bay Lightning players there, of course, that we just saw playing. Strawman, hopefully he's okay. That was a pretty big. He looked like he wasn't in good shape.
But he'll have 3-4 months to rest.
Yeah, but I wonder, that looked like the same leg. The forward group. This is a good group. Backstrom, Eriksson, Forsberg. Of course, that's Philip, not Peter. Hagelin, Hornquist, Kruger, Landeskog, Sedin, Silverberg, Soderberg, Steen, and Zetterberg. A lot of Bergs.
I know the reason why, but the Sedins, it's getting close to the time where we're going to have to turn the page.
But, I don't know who you put in instead of them.
No, they're still really good. They are still good.
Nyquist didn't make it.
Nyquist just dropped off, though. I thought about that, too.
Yeah, he couldn't win the Preakness. He's, I'm with you. It's completely, I know. Are we going to see the Louis Eriksson Sedin line that we're going to eventually see in Vancouver next year? We might.
Very possible.
I don't know. Boston says they want to keep him, Mac. I don't know.
They say that, but I keep hearing Vancouver's going to be putting in a pretty good.
Just straying off Sweden for a second, it's ironic you say that, Eck, because Jim Benning, the Canucks GM, was interviewed this afternoon, and he said that it's incumbent upon him to put a competitive team out there. Yep. That team is nowhere close to being competitive. That team should be rebuilding, but because
that's wrong. They were competitive last year for more than half the season. I think that's what he's talking about.
I just don't.
They were in the race. If you remember, we talked about Vancouver, and they were in the race for a while.
And then they dropped like a stone.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think
Lundqvist is obviously your starter here, right?
Yes.
Yeah. They'll play every minute unless he gets.
I guess your backup is.
Well, he'll play every minute unless he played like he played in the playoffs. You got to be fair.
Yeah. Team Russia. Bobrovsky, Varlamov, and Vasilevsky, the one that Mike hates, from Tampa. Andrei Vasilevsky, who won't even get any time on his own Russian team, for crying out loud. Why would you keep him on Tampa? Because Bobrovsky and Varlamov are definitely ahead of him on these depth charts, I would think.
Here's the thing. The only change you could make is if you didn't think Varlamov is playing up to snuff anymore, and you put Samsonov, who Washington drafted a year ago.
He is 19, but yes.
But he is a great goalie in that league.
He is. And Varlamov, I really thought after Sochi, I thought he might have hurt himself forever with Russia because he really was a really problem in the Olympics.
Oh, and I found a Team Sweden stub. Jason Strudwick, he should be at least announcing for Team Sweden, right?
Yeah. There you go. Defensemen. This is where the Russians are sort of weak. Really. Emelin, Kulikov, Marchenko, Markov, Orlov, Voinov. There's some controversy there, like whether or not.
You think there's some controversy, really?
Oh yeah, no. I think there's a good chance the NHL might not let him play. I've heard that. And because this is an NHL event, remember, this is not and
Yep.
this is an NHL event.
I mean, well, that's true. But the thing is, I don't believe he will be prevented from entering Canada. I mean, it'd be one thing if it was the U.S., but it's
Everything's legal in Canada. Zaitsev. No, but you're right. No, I agree with you. I think if it was in the U.S., it would be different. But no, and so Zaitsev,
So it's interesting. Like Medvedev, clearly off the radar now, where he used to be on the radar.
Yeah, I get a feeling that the Russians knew something about that before he came over here.
Well, I mean, he's 33 years old. He
also just got arrested, here.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Zaitsev. I think Zaitsev helped his case big time.
Yeah.
Being named as one of the All-Star team for the World Championships. He had the highest plus-minus at the World, so I think that's.
But Sergachev probably should be on that team. I don't care about his age, but the Russians always want to make you sort of wait in line, and he could replace a lot of. There's a few guys he could replace on that.
I mean, Orlov. Don't you think he's better than Orlov? I do. I mean,
yeah, I do.
I mean, I think Provorov is better than Orlov, but I mean, he's really young too. So, I mean, obviously Provorov's not going to be. The Russians would never put a guy in like him in there. But I think that this is that there's a couple guys on there, and I mean, Voinov, he did look good in the World Championship.
Like physical specimen already.
Yeah.
Whatever. What do I know?
Forwards: Anisimov, Dadonov from St. Petersburg, Datsuk.
Soon to be in the NHL though. He is going to sign somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Datsuk.
Yep.
Go ahead, Mike.
Both KHLers that were invited, Dadonov and Shipachev. Hey, Dan, I can pronounce the name. They're both going to be NHL players, more than likely. So.
Yeah. Kucherov, Kulemin, Kuznetsov, Malkin, Namenistikov, sorry, Ovechkin, Panarin, Shipachyov, like you said, Shipachyov. Shipachyov, yep. Tarasenko, and Teligan.
And Teligan is a Teligan, I think it's pronounced. He's a Winnipeg draft pick. They still have his rights, and he might be, I don't know what his contractual situation is, but the Jets supposedly are interested in him.
See, now here's an interesting thing. Pavel Buchnevich, who's coming over for the Rangers, he might be better than Teligan. I mean, why wouldn't they, to me, that's close. But anyhow.
Wasn't there a guy in the World Championships for the Russians that was just killing it?
Yeah, him. Shipachev.
That was him, right?
Shipachev was the guy who led the.
Right, that was Shipachev, right. I'm trying to remember. Okay, thank you.
But Teligan scored the goal against the Finns in the semifinal.
Yep, there you go. How good is this Russian team? Let's just go Russian versus Sweden right now. What do you think? Do you got
Sweden's way better.
Sweden's way better?
Better goaltending, better defense, better forwards.
Yep, okay. All right. That's surprising to me to hear you guys say that. I'm not so sure about that, but we'll talk more about it as we go. Czech Republic. Goalies, Mrazek, Neuwirth, and Pavlik. Is this Neuwirth's job? I think it might be. I think Neuwirth might be.
Based on NHL play, yeah.
Based on how I played this year, Neuwirth was the best of those three. And I think Neuwirth is the potentially dangerous goalie. He really is. He in a shortened series like this, Neuwirth could really give people problems, even though this Czech team is riddled with issues. But beyond that, so defensive, Radko Gudas.
Wait, who were the goalies again? You said it was Neuwirth?
Mrazek, Neuwirth, and Pavlik.
See, I'm surprised the guy who was great in the World Championships isn't in there. What was his name, Mike?
Yeah. Oh, God, I know who you're talking about, but he played 5 years in the Czech League and only played 1 year in the KHL.
But he was fantastic. He got like a 970 save percentage, whatever.
Yeah, and made the Czechs a really competitive team.
Yeah. Yeah, the goalies are pretty good. And
Pavlik has had trouble with on the national, and playing for his team there in the Czech team. All right, defensively, Radko Gudas. So this is by the way Team Philadelphia.
Radko Gudas' team, man.
This is Team Philadelphia because you got 3 Flyers on this team. Michael Jordan is trying out this sport for the first time. I'm really kind of impressed by what he's done in baseball and basketball.
He's a Carolina draft pick. He's actually a pretty good player.
Well, yeah, he played at UNC, didn't he? Anyway.
I don't think so.
The other Michael Jordan, sorry. Mikhail Kempny, sorry. Then Siminek, you should be doing this one, Russ. Mikhailek. Jacob Nakolagadol, Roman Polak, and Andrei Suster is one of Mike's favorite players from the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, he's tall. That's about all.
He's built like a truck. He's built like a brick house. But
European Chris Therien, yes.
that defense has issues, don't you think?
I mean, it depends who they're playing. If they're playing Team Japan, they're fine. If not,
Yeah,
Who's the best defenseman on this team? Radko Gudas?
I want to see what Team Europe's defense is, because if depending on what that is, this is the worst.
Better than this. Team Europe's defense
This
is
is
better.
the worst defensive core in the tournament.
yeah.
Offensively, Radek Faksa, Michael Frolik, Martin Hansel, Alex Hemsky, Thomas Ertl, Dmitry Yakskin, David Krejci.
Who will not play because he's injured.
He's
Yeah,
injured.
Krejci won't play.
He won't play, but he's on this team. Milan Mikhailuk, who I always, I'm a big Mikhailuk.
Now, I mean, can Mahalik even play anymore?
Yeah, I don't know. He's
He was a salary dump in the Phaneuf deal. The funny thing is that he was probably added because Yager.
I bet you he does come. You know, people I've talked about before, but he's one of the more under. When he was at his best, he was such a really good player.
He was a really good player. He just got hurt a lot.
He got hurt a lot, but when he was healthy, as a Shark for a while there, he was crazy
really
good.
He broke the same hand twice last year. He checked Joffrey Lupul.
There you go. That's not a good idea. Andre Palat, David Pasternak, who's going to have a major role in this team because he's a player. Thomas Plekanec, of course. Vladimir Sobotka, give me a 9.864, and Jacob Voracek, who of course should be the star of this team. Basically,
it's a good forward group. It is.
It's not a bad forward group. It's not a great one either. But this team is historically
now there is one guy. Now again, I think I could look on that list and see where I might want Pavel Zacha rather than one of these guys, because Pavel Zacha is. You get him playing with Voracek, you might have an unstoppable two guys there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why Pavel Zacha is not on the team, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's some guys.
And no Patrick Ilias, so they must think he's retired.
He's too old.
Yeah.
He's too old. I mean, you'd have to wheel him in. But I'm kidding.
He's still going to play this next year, I think.
No.
I don't think he's going to.
Yeah.
I heard he was going to try. Whether or not he can or not.
He'll be in the new EA game, but I don't think he'll be in the real
I would
game.
not be surprised if he was a Maple Leaf. Let me throw that out there.
Oh, come you stop.
No, I'm serious. This is because
Broadcast. Kill it.
No. I'm serious. Lou Lamoriello's love of Patrick Elias, right? You need some veteran leadership on that team.
No, you don't.
He loves John Madden too. He's not bringing him back.
Man's not playing anymore.
All
right.
Chris Terreri is one of his favorites, and he needs goaltending, but he's 48 years old.
I'm starting that rumor here. All right, Team Finland.
Well, this is interesting. Let me start off with this. The goaltending, Rask, Rene, and Mikko Koskinen. And this is the thing. Look at the slap that this is against Antti Niemi and Kari Lehtinen, that great duo in Dallas. How they have fallen that they don't even get the third goaltender spot for Finland in the World Cup.
Mikko Koskinen can't even get back in the NHL, and they're saying he's better than those guys.
Right.
You're right. That's very right. Who can give me the over/under on the number of Ks on this roster? Okay, I just counted them just for the fun of it. Oh, what do you guys think?
Jyrki Jokipaka.
No, the number of Ks on this roster completely. What do you think, Russ?
68.
About 6.
6. No, there's many Ks. There's 6 in Jyrki Jokipaka's name.
Yeah, that's. Oh, you mean altogether?
Yeah, and the entire team.
75.
No, you guys are a little bit high. It's 26, but that's still pretty impressive. Anyway, I thought it'd be more, but anyway. So Mikko Koskinen, 4 there, is one of the goalies. Tuukka Rask, 3 there, and Pekka Rinne, 2 there. There's the goaltenders. And this is Rene's job to lose.
Yeah.
I would think. Tuukka, although they love Rask as well, so it's possible that Tuukka Rask could get some time. On defense, this will be fun. Jyrki Jokipaka from Calgary. Sammy Lepisto, who always reminds us, it's like the least Finnish name in the world, right?
Yeah.
The Italian Finn. Esa Lindell.
Esa Lindell.
Esa Lindell, sorry. Oli Mata. Vili Polka. Rasmus Ristolainen and Sami Vatanen. That rounds out your defenseman there.
I think that's a better defense than the Russians.
Yeah, I think with Vatanen, Ristolainen, and Mata, you have really.
The only person I could think of off the top of my head that I would consider adding would be Ole Juolevi, but again, that's up to them.
Right.
Billy Polka, the only AHLer in this tournament so far, which is interesting. He's from the he played last year for the Rockford Ice Hogs.
Well, Lindell only played 4 games in the NHL, so that's sort of
But
he's pretty ready. That's on Lindy that he didn't play.
Yeah, he's gonna be an NHLer.
He's gonna be really good.
And I'm surprised that the other Dallas star that we've talked about, Julius Honka, is not on this team.
Yeah.
The thing is, in a tournament like this, I would rather have Juolevi than Honka because of the size and strength factor. That's the only reason.
Well, would you rather have him than Sami Lepisto?
Probably.
Yeah.
Here we go. The forward, Sebastian Aho from Karpat. Alexander Barkov, who we all know. Jonas Donskoy, who we talked about a lot on this, and he's a heck of a player. Valtteri Filppula. Mikael Granlund, who always plays in these things. Eric makes you want to holla. Jussi Jokinen, Miku Koivu, Leo Komarov, right? Lori Porkabaski, Patrick Laine. There's a story there for sure. Yuri Lehtera and Chivu Teravainen. This is a pretty good forward thing, but let's talk about Patrick Laine first of all, because the youngest player of any of these guys that we've talked about today.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. I mean,
not surprising.
No, he should be in there. Now, some people think Puljujarvi got a snub, but
that's what I was thinking.
But you know what? Here's the thinking, though. You do have to create a team, and you can't have a team of the same kind of players. And even Laine and Puljujarvi are pretty close, other than Puljujarvi.
But they play well together, though. I mean, if you're talking about creating a team, they can make that argument, can't you?
But you have to have some muckers like Korpikoski. Like, you have to have some guys like that who are going to penalty kill, some guys who are going to just be energy guys. You do have to have a little bit of that.
In a World Cup of hockey, you can't be playing an 18-year-old and a 17-year-old. I think one is 17, one is 18, on the top 6. And you can't have them playing.
Well, I don't know about that. I think that's unfair because back in the day, you could have had like Gretzky and Messier playing together, or Gretzky and Lemieux. Well, I'm just saying, but that's valid.
And Lindros played in the Canada Cup as a top 6 player, right? Yeah. So at that age.
Sorry.
But I don't know. Is Jussi Jokinen really needed in this tournament? I mean, that's the one player I was thinking about. I don't know. I mean,
are there shootouts?
What was that?
Are there shootouts?
Yes.
Yeah, there are shootouts. That's a great point. I didn't even think about that.
And he's a solid player. I mean, he played with Barkov and Laine at the World Championships, and more than likely, I'll bet you anything, they put that line together for this tournament.
No, you're right. That was a good line. I'm a big fan of Erik Haula. He's like one of the guys that I really like in the NHL. I think that, and he does get hurt a lot, but he is definitely one of these guys. I think he is going to surprise people.
I'm a fan of his bread. I am.
Yeah, he can definitely. What was that? Your favorite of his bread? Haula bread, right? Haula and Panarin together again. Okay, so there you have it.
Is there anybody? If Marcus Stroman played in the NHL, we'd have a perfect.
So of these 4 teams, how are we going to rank them? Let's just these 4 teams.
Sweden 1, Finland 2, Russia 3, Czech 4.
Yeah, that's how I have it too.
All right.
But again, Finland's winning everything, so it's funny that we never want to give Finland the gold medal, and at the end of the day, they walk out with the gold medal.
Yeah, but what did they do? Last time you put the best players in the world together in Sochi.
I don't know. I mean, they just won the World Championships. They won the under-18s.
The future is bright for Finland.
They won the World Juniors. Like, they've been winning every level.
Oh yeah, they have.
They won bronze in Sochi, so I mean they're.
We're dismissing them. We're summarily dismissing them quickly.
You're right. I would, they always. It always seems like Sweden is just the sexier team between those two teams, and Finland just gives Sweden nightmares. Like Finland is just
more like a handsome woman, but they get the job done.
Like a handsome woman, and they get the job done. There you go, Russ. There you go. No. That's the show title. All right. All right. I have not been able to. I don't think we've come to terms with Russ the chicken for today.
Screw them.
So my feeling is this, because we are going to be doing a show on Monday, all right, and that is that, and not of course this means I would have to travel with Rest the Chicken to Pittsburgh.
Oh, how easy to travel with?
I don't know. We're going to find out soon.
Okay.
They have deep fryers in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean this. Oh man. I do have. Here's Rodney. Okay, so I'm sorry, Rodney. I was going to. We're gonna definitely. You're not gonna. I think the people still want Russ the Chicken to be the guy, so you're gonna have to wait till another day here.
Yeah, I don't like Rodney.
I think Rodney just gave me the finger. Get out of here, you.
I don't like the look of him.
What now?
I don't like the looks of Rodney.
You don't like the looks of Rodney?
No.
Rodney's a good chicken.
You know what? Rodney looks like the uptown chicken, and Russ the Chicken is the in the gutter chicken. I like Russ the Chicken.
What are you talking about, dude? This is my name. I think this is the perfect name, perfect voice for Rodney, don't you?
No. Let's just end this show.
I've had enough. I'm out of here.
Rodney is a fail.
Yes, Rodney's a big fail.
Well, with
Rodney gets no respect, none at all.
No, I know. Well, Rodney is. But I'll say this: he showed up. I mean, Russ the Chicken didn't even show up today at all. And wait, hold on, folks.
Oh.
Jesus.
No, what's going on? Are you actually going to do a show today? You're not even going to talk to me, are you? Nah, you see, I got to negotiate. We got contract problems here. Okay. Get out of here. Go. Just go. All right, there we go. That's all for today. Remember, without the buzz, it is just hockey. We'll talk to you soon.